Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. I've had my MacBook Pro for over a year now, so today's video will be my 1 year later review of using my MacBook. The exact model that I have is the 2022 13-inch M2 MacBook Pro with 512 gigabytes of storage in the color Space Gray. So I was trying to think of a way that I can talk about this 1 year later review, as I've done a lot on my channel with every time I got a new Apple product, like I've done it with my phone and I've done it with my Apple Watch. So I'm trying to think about how I'm gonna do a 1 year later review with my MacBook, because for most of the use and the look of the MacBook, it's pretty much identical to my previous 2019 MacBook Air, other than the color and the fact that it's slightly thicker and the keyboard is ever so slightly taller. The trackpad is like 1.5 centimeters wider. The Touch ID sensor is slightly bigger and also frosted glass instead of regular glass. There's no other like main key features that is different from this one, the Pro, to my MacBook Air, except for one thing, and that is the lovely Touch Bar. And that is honestly the main reason I was so excited to get this new MacBook, because other than yet again storage and power, that's the only reason why I upgraded to a new MacBook. The Touch Bar being a bonus is the best bonus that I got. There's so much things you can do with the Touch Bar, whether it's just shortcuts or things that you couldn't do before without a Touch Bar. But also, it's just a new way to experience using the MacBook, honestly, and I love it so much. I'm so glad that I got a new MacBook just so I could experience the Touch Bar, and I'm going to dedicate the rest of this video to talking about the Touch Bar and all the cool features and all the cool things that you can do with the Touch Bar with all of my everyday apps. So I'm not going to talk about everything that you can do with the Touch Bar, but all the things that have helped me and saved some time with editing, mainly in Final Cut Pro, but other cool things that you could do that you couldn't do before. But you've probably noticed already, unless I haven't showed you yet, but there is a little crack on my MacBook bezel. Now, long story short, I ended up cracking the bezel and I was like really depressed over it for like 2 weeks, and then I ended up getting over it. I haven't gotten it fixed yet because I've been quite busy the last few months. I've been traveling around Laos, Cambodia, and Hawaii recently. I just went to Hawaii, which is where I got this t-shirt from. But anyways, we're just going to ignore that little crack. I'm going to try and fix it later on, but I haven't gone around to it yet. So just ignore that little crack that's on the MacBook. But other than that, I'm actually very careful with my Apple products. Okay, that's good enough. I'm actually very careful with my Apple products. But anyways, let's just get straight into it. Okay, let's start off with the control strip. You can have up to 4 things on here, but I have 3, and that is the sleep button, which if I tap on it, it instantly sleeps my MacBook. Next to it, I have the volume slider. If I tap and hold onto it, I can slide the volume up and down, and then it goes back to its spot. Same thing goes with the display brightness. I can slide it up and down, and it's just nice and easy. Next to that is a little arrow, which if you tap on it, it opens up the expanded control strip. I hardly use the expanded control strip because I just rather just use the only 3 things I have up there. But you can have up to, I think, 10 to 14 things on the expanded control strip. Now, I only have the volume buttons, the display brightness, pause and play, backwards and forwards buttons, the keyboard brightness, and a cool little screenshot button. And if I press the little screenshot button, it acts as the screenshot button, where I can change the different ways to take a screenshot, and even screen recordings too. You can also choose to change the way you save the video. So if I press record, it will start recording, and I can see how long it's been recording for and how much megabytes it's taking up from storage. And I can also press stop. And that's just as simple as that. Okay, let me tell you how to customize the control strip, or even just the touch bar within itself. Go onto the menu bar, click on view, and then find Customize Touch Bar. Now you can customize the touch bar no matter what application you have open. If you want to customize the control strip, just tap onto the control strip and it will change, and then you can drag and drop things from the bottom of the screen and it will show up in the touch bar. Move things around and you can bring it back up again. If you open up the little arrow button, which opens up the expanded control strip, the same thing applies. It will change around. You can add up to, I think, 10 to 14 things on here. So just drag it to the bottom of the screen and move it around on there. And you can also even add a little space bar if you want to evenly space out the things if you want to, or move one thing to the side and have the rest on the other side, if that makes sense. Most of the apps, including the expanded and regular control strip, all have like a default setting which will be there, but you can always change it around and then change it back to the default setting if you don't want to customize it. And you can even have up to nothing on there and just have it empty if you want to. And that's just as simple as that. So now I'm going to tell you some of the cool things that I have set on the touch bar with all of my regular use apps. So on the desktop, I only have 3 things on the touch bar, which is a view options button, so I can choose the way that I want to sort my files that are on my desktop. I usually have it just on snap to grid, but sometimes I want to change it to date added or date created or anything else, so that's why I have it there. Next to it in the middle is a new tabs button, which opens a new tab on the Finder app, so I can easily sort my files onto the Finder app. And lastly, I have a create a new folder shortcut, which opens up a new folder, and I can quickly type onto it. I think I'm just going to type subscribe, because that's what you should do right now, just so I can easily sort the files into the new folders that I just created. If I peek into a photo, it only has 4 options on the touch bar, and that is the markup, rotate, share, and open. But if I peek into a video, it has the last 3 options being the same, but it also has a cool little pause and play button. I can scroll onto the timeline, which will show how long the entire video goes for. I can trim the video down to whatever I want. I can revert it back to the original if I don't want to trim it, or I can just press done. And if I open the video, the touch bar now turns into a bigger timeline scrubber, so I can scrub anywhere in the video to a specific point and just press pause and play, and that's pretty much it. If I open up the Finder app, you can see there are a few things on the touch bar that are actually grayed out, and that's because I have nothing selected. So as an example, let me just select on this little video that I'm editing from a vlog, and you can see they all light up now. So I'm going to go through them all from left to right, starting off with this really cool tags button, so I can tag any type of photo or a video or a folder or anything into a few different folder colors. So I can just easily tap onto orange and then select the next button and then do orange again, and the next one I want it to be green or something. I can just easily do that, and it's very helpful, especially if I'm selecting and like tagging multiple photos and videos. I mainly just use this when I'm taking like a bunch of thumbnail photos and I'm just trying to select like or highlight the best ones out of all of them. And if I didn't have the touch bar, which could do this option, the only way I could do this is by tapping on it with 2 fingers and then selecting the green color, and it will just disappear. So if I wanted to add more than 1 color on here, it would take like so long to do it one by one, and it's just very helpful to have the touch bar with the tag option. Next to that is a cool little get information button, so I can get the information of the photo or the video or the folder or anything in the Finder app. I'm going to just use this to see how much storage it's taking up, but also what time and date that the folder or the video or whatever was created. The next one over is the share button, so I can share the file or whatever to any of these platforms, but I mainly just use it to airdrop. And then the next 2 I've shown you before, which is adds a new tab and makes a new folder, but the one next to it actually adds a new folder with whatever is selected. So if I have like 2 or 3 or 4 things selected and then click that button, all the things that I had selected will open into a new folder, which is really helpful. And then I have a bit separated with that little space bar is the trash button. So if whatever I have selected, I can just press the trash button and it will move all of the things, anything that I had selected, into the bin, and then I can further on delete it or bring it back if I want to from the bin. I love the Notes app on my phone and iPad, and especially my MacBook, so let me show you how the touch bar makes the whole experience just 10 times better. So the first thing is if you just have a regular note selected and not like ready to type, it will only have 2 things on here and have them spaced out through the spacebar like I showed earlier, just so I don't accidentally delete a folder that I have selected, which is on the right side, and on the left side I have just to tap and I can create a new note within a folder or something. So if I have something selected, you can see it changes around, so it still has a new note on the left side. Next to it is a checklist button, so I can add a new checklist, and next to that I can change the style of the text, so I can make a new title or heading, subheading, and etc. So I have that right there, and I can organize the way that I use that. And then in the middle, as you can see, I have a typing suggestions, which is my favorite feature about the touch bar, especially in Notes, but it works with kind of anything, no matter what application you have open. With typing, it opens up in the typing suggestions, which is just super helpful because I'm not a great speller. So sometimes when I'm trying to spell something and I can't figure out how to spell it, or I forgot, or I have like a mental blackout, then it will give me 3 different options to kind of predict what I'm trying to spell out. You know how it works. Same thing that works with your phone or your iPad. So it has it on the MacBook, and it's really helpful because I'm not a good speller. And as you can see, I'm struggling to spell the word subscribe, so make sure you subscribe to help me out. Another thing I really like about the typing suggestions is if I type a word that is describing like an emoji, then it will come up in the right side as a little emoji suggestion, which is really helpful. So if I'm trying to say, like, I don't know, let's say like a blue heart or something, if I type the word blue heart, then you can see a blue heart comes up on the right side. I can choose the light blue color or the dark blue color. So just, it helps to find specific emojis that I need to. I use emojis a lot, so describing the emoji and then it coming up in the suggestion actually is really helpful than going to find the emoji through the emoji panel, which is what I'm going to talk about in just a second. So if I press this little arrow button on the end of the typing suggestions, you have a few more options that are kind of hidden. So if I selected like a sentence or something, then I can change it to make it bold, italic, underline. I can make the heading like right side or left side or whatever this is called. Honestly, I have no idea what this is called, but you just make it more right or left. And then you also have the emojis button, so you can go through all your emojis, recently used, frequently used, and also like smiling people and animals, food, and etc. You know how it works, but it's a bit hard sometimes to find the specific emoji, so that's why I use the typing suggested emojis, which is really helpful, and it makes the whole experience of using the Notes app like 10 times better. Personally, I prefer Safari over Google Chrome, so that's what I use for my main like web page browser. So I'm going to show you a lot of the cool things you can do with the touch bar on Safari. So the first thing on the left side is a little arrows button, so you can go backwards and forwards within a web page. Next to that is a search button, so I can just go to the tab button and type something away, or as you can see, my touch bar has turned into a little quick shortcuts, so I can just go to my favorited bookmarks, which is really helpful. In the middle, you can swipe between web pages, so you have open, so if you have multiple different web pages, you can tap on them and switch between them. And next to that, I can add a new tab, which will allow me to yet again type something and enter a new website name, or I can go through my favorited bookmarks and easily open up something that I had saved, like YouTube for one thing, and open up my YouTube channel so you can subscribe. Some other cool things you can do on YouTube within Safari is if you have a video playing, you can have a little pause and play button, and you can also scrub between the timeline and any part of the video. You can also have this little cool button which you actually can't do without a touch bar, and that is to make the video that you're watching into picture-in-picture. So if you have, let's say, the Notes app, or you're editing a video or something, or going through your files, you can actually still see the video in the corner of your screen and move it out to any corner of your MacBook, and you can still watch a little video and hear the audio, even pause and play it while you're doing something else. So it's pretty good with multitasking, and you can just press this little button to open up the video back into YouTube, which is on the Safari page. And also another thing you can do is if you open the video in full screen, it makes the entire of the touch bar to be the timeline scrubber. You can see how long the video has been playing for so far and how long the video has left. And another cool thing you can do is if you tap and hold onto the pause and play button, you can actually change the speed of how fast the video is going. So you can change it to 0.5 to slow it down, or 1.25 times, 1.5 times, and even 2 times speed, and back to regular speed as well. That's a cool little hidden feature that I actually discovered like a week ago, and I've been using it non-stop ever since I found this out accidentally. And the last thing I want to talk about briefly, because it doesn't actually exist anymore, but when I first got the MacBook with the touch bar, there was a cool little hidden feature that you could do, kind of more of like a glitch that kind of worked as a feature. And that was when you're watching YouTube videos and an ad popped up, you could actually grab the timeline scrubber and then move it all the way to the end, and it will actually think that the video had finished playing out, so the ad will be like skipped, or even just tap on the end of the timeline and it will think that the ad had fully played out and then skip the ad even though you didn't actually need to watch it, which was really cool. And a feature that worked for since I got the MacBook, which was I think the end of January last year, and they fixed it I think around July or August 2024. So I only got to play around with that for a few months, the best few months of my life. and then they fixed this feature. I honestly didn't think they were going to, because the touch bar had been around since I think 2016, and apparently you could skip the ads on YouTube videos since then. Now that the touch bar has been discontinued, I said it in the unboxing and review video that I didn't think that they were going to get rid of this feature, but they did, so I spoke too soon. Unfortunately, maybe I shouldn't have spoken at all, but anyways. Okay, now let's talk about my favorite app and what I use the most on my MacBook, and that is Final Cut Pro, which is my editing software that I use to edit any videos for YouTube or anything else outside of YouTube as well. So let's show you a few things you can do with the touch bar on Final Cut Pro. So for starters, if I have a library already selected, I can choose to import videos, I can create a new event, or I can create a new project. And if I have a project selected, I can choose to get the information about the project, duplicate it, make a snapshot, or move it to trash. And I can change it from film strip to list view and backwards and forwards. If I have a video clip selected, I can yet again get the information about it. I can change the volume going up by one singular interval or downwards, or just slide on the volume slider, or even silence the clip. And I can also move the playhead from the beginning, so I can watch the video from the very start or the very end, clear the selection, and yet again change the format from film strip to list view. When I'm editing on the main timeline, I can select between editing tools like select, trim, position, range selection, blade, zoom, and hand. Next to that is the audio controls like silence the clip, volume slider, or I can fade the audio in and out from each side of the audio clip. Next to the audio controls is the override clip connections. I honestly have no idea what that does and what it means, so we're just going to move on to the next thing, which is the trim options. So I can trim the video from where the playhead is, or I can trim the video from what I have selected from the left side or the right. Next to that is play around, which replays the video from where I had the playhead selected within the video, and it just replays it every time I press the button. And if you tap this button over here, you can access your entire timeline. You can see all the different colors like the regular video, sound effects, music, and text or anything like that in all the cool different colors. You can tap on any side of the timeline to immediately show that part of the timeline. You can even scrub between it to see whatever part you want to, and you can also increase or decrease your timeline to make the entire timeline show in one shot, or you can zoom in to a specific spot to get more details within a video. Plus, if you open up the video in full screen, you can see your entire timeline turned into the rest of the touch bar, except for, of course, the control strip. You can see all your edits, and you can even scrub on the timeline to a specific point, which is really cool. I like to do that. And on top of that, there are even more things you can do with the touch bar on Final Cut Pro. These things I don't actually use that often, but I'm going to tell you about them anyways. So if you add text to your timeline, so just by pressing Ctrl T as a little shortcut, you can access the text. And then if you double click on it, there's a few more other options you can do with text. So for the first thing, you can change the style of the text, like make it bold, italic, change the different positions or where you want the text to be. You can outline the text, make it glow, or even add a drop shadow, and you can have all of them or none of them. And next to that is the text size, so I can go onto the slider and make the text bigger or smaller up to whatever I want, or even move it up or down by one singular interval. And then next to that, I can also press this little 3D button, which makes the text 3D or not. If I unclick it and I can press the next button, which is a color slider, it makes the entire of the touch bar, even the control strip doesn't exist anymore, and it makes the entire touch bar turn in this cool color mode. So I can slide on the touch bar and make the color of the text to be the exact color of what I want. You can even have different options. I can change the saturation, I can even change the brightness of the color, and I can even save it as a new color, so I can come back to that color if I want to use it again. And that's pretty cool way to color the text. I honestly don't really use that much text on my videos, or even if I do have text on my videos, I hardly ever color them. So that's why I don't really use these options that much, but it's still cool if you want to use it anyways. Now lastly, there are a few things that I actually don't like about the touch bar that I want to talk about in this video, and obviously it won't be a honest review if I don't mention this, so that's why I'm going to talk about it. So yeah, let's start off with the first one, which is that the touch bar always turns off after like a minute of inactivity. It turns gray, and then the touch bar just turns off, and you can just easily turn it back on again by touching the touch bar or the keyboard or the trackpad, and it wakes it up again. It's kind of like a way of, like, I guess, saving power or something, but there's no way to fix it. Like in settings, I tried searching for it forever, but you can't like change the time. Like, you know how your phone or your iPad or your MacBook dims after like a few minutes and then it turns off to like save power, so it's not always on, but you can change it in settings to change the time from like 1 minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15, or never turn off. Well, the touch bar doesn't have that option, so 1 minute is just too short, and it just kind of annoys me just that little bit. And that's why I'm going to talk about it in this video. The next thing that I want to kind of complain about is that sometimes in Final Cut Pro, the controls on the touch bar will turn gray and don't work. So I had to kind of restart Final Cut Pro again, like quit it and then restart it again for it to work. But it's only for some reason like 3 or 4 controls, and that is the trim option. So the trimming from the playhead and then trimming from the start or the end, for some reason always turns gray after a while, or when I'm switching between projects or something. And then the only way to like fix it again is to again quit out of the Final Cut Pro app and then restart it again, and then it turns on again. And I've seen a lot of other people talk about this too, but they've yet to fix the problem. And of course, now that the touch bar no longer exists, I don't think Apple is going to fix this problem. And the next thing is that sometimes when I'm in like the Notes app, let's say, and I'm sliding on the emojis tab, sometimes it doesn't actually work most of the time. Like when I'm swiping through like the emojis, it will work, but then sometimes it won't let me, like if I'm trying to tap on it or swipe on the emojis, it doesn't let me for some reason swipe on it. Like it just sometimes works, it doesn't always work. I've only found this to happen on the emoji tabs, but you know, it just, I don't know why it doesn't do that. Sometimes I literally have to wait for like the last pixel of it to like stop moving completely before I can tap on it and whatever. As you can see from my examples that I've filmed, it just doesn't always work, but sometimes it does, and it's a bit annoying. So that's why I'm mentioning it. And that's why I use, honestly, if I'm going to use an emoji when I'm typing something, I will just like describe the emoji and then get it from the suggested emojis, rather than trying to search for it and then it glitches and I can't use it or whatever. It's just a bit annoying. The next thing is that when I'm switching between web browsers, like on Safari, it sometimes glitches, and it's a bit annoying because like it doesn't actually glitch like an inconvenience me or anything, but like the little tab that shows that I'm on one tab or the other when I tap on it, for some reason it doesn't, like if I add a new like tab or something and then move it to a different side, as you can see, it gets a bit confused and doesn't know what to do. So like, I just added a random one of the Apple website as an example. So if I like moved it around, which I did, I moved it from the right side to the third one in the middle and then got rid of it, now it's all confused. Now it literally doesn't know what to do, and it's like I can still tap on it and switch between the web browsers, but it just gets a bit confusing sometimes, and I don't know why that happens, and it's just a bit weird. That's just the only few things I want to complain about with the touch bar, but other than that, I love it so much, and there's so many things you can do with it that I didn't even mention in this video. And if you want a part 2 and talk about more apps that you can do with the touch bar, definitely let me know in the comment section down below. But yeah. If you have a MacBook with the touch bar, let me know what your favorite feature is in the comment section down below. And if you haven't seen my MacBook Pro unboxing and review video that I made last year, I have it linked somewhere up here in the description box down below and at the end of the video. And make sure to follow me on Instagram too. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.